In today's video, I'm going to be going over the differences between Blondme versus Blonde Life, just product knowledge and what are their key differences. So, if that sounds interesting to you, you might want to stick around. Good afternoon, my fellow stylists, enthusiasts, and friends. Welcome to my channel. If you are new here, I am Maureen Moody and I'm the Curious Stylist. And if you're curious and nerding out on hair color is fun for you, then you might want to stick around. And to all my returning subscribers, well, you all know we're color geeks here. So the first part of this video is going to be me breaking down product knowledge and mixing ratios and stuff like that for both of these lighteners. So I'm going to start with the one that I feel most familiar with, and that is Blondme. So Blondme has a mixing ratio of 1:1 and 1:2.5. So if you're mixing up 30 grams of lightener, you're going to mix 45 grams of developer, or if you miss 30 grams of lightener, you can mix 75 grams of developer. That's the mixing ratio for Blonde. 2, Blondme is suggested to be used with 7, 20, and 30. And 3, as an on the scalp double process lightener, you're going to mix it 1:2. That's how I do it, and I don't go over 20 volume when I am using Blondme, and the manufacturer recommends 7 and 20 but not 30 for double processing, so that's good to know. And when you are doing an on the scalp double process, no heat is ever needed. 4, Blondme, you don't need to use heat at all, even with foil. I don't use Blondme under the dryer. Just don't do it. What the manufacturer doesn't recommend heat at all with this product. So that's 5. 6, this product has a bond building technology in it. As far as they're concerned, you don't need to use Olaplex or B3 in this. They've already put the bond building agent into the product. That, when you're using Blondme, you don't need a bond building agent. So now let's get into Blonde Light. It too is an adjustable mixing ratio. Joico has like a printout, and I'll link that below for this. And in that printout, it talks about how it is an adjustable mixing ratio. So that's number 1. Number 2, you can use it with 10, 20, 30, and 40 volume. Blonde Life on the scalp, only 10 volume and 20 volume is recommended. So if you are going to do an on the scalp double process, 10 and 20 volume is recommended, and they do not recommend heat on the scalp. And then 5 is that this too has a bond building agents in the product, so you do not need to add your Olaplex or your B3 or whatever it is that you use as a bonding agent for this particular product. If you're finding value in this content, please smash the like button and subscribe. Every Monday I drop a new video on hair color education. For the most part, the differences aren't very much. The only difference is this does not recommend using 40 volume, where this one does. It can be used. Maybe not recommended, but as their manufacturer says, they can. Let's get into what I found to be different with the product as I was working with it. The differences between this product are that this product has more grip. Now, it does say that it has a adjustable mixing ratio, but I found that my sweet spot with this particular product was 1:2. So when I tried to do 1 to 1.5, which is what I mixed with Blondme, is I mix this 1 to 1.5 when I'm doing foils. I find that it gives me a good grip and it gives a lot of power to the product, and I'm able to use a lower volume peroxide and lift better with Blondme when I'm using a 1 to 1.5. But with this product, I needed to use a 1:2. So I feel like in some ways it's not exactly comparable, because if I did a 1 to 1.5, I was afraid that it wouldn't seep in, like the saturation wouldn't be quite as good because the product was so pasty. So I was afraid it wouldn't seep into the hair as well and I would get more spotty results. This is definitely a thicker. What I liked about it too is that it does grip to the hair. The consistency is very comparable to Schwarzkopf's Vario Super Bond Plus. I feel like this product is very comparable to that one because it really sticks, it stays put when you put it on. Now, I did do a color correction side by side on a friend of mine, and I noticed it's not a huge, but you can't really see the difference on the camera. I will try to show you some examples while we're talking, and like you might be able to see it, but I feel like it didn't really pick up on the camera the way that I wanted it to. There is a slight difference. So let's talk about some things that I didn't like about this product. And again, I haven't had a ton of time working with this product, and when I did a couple of highlights on some people, I really liked the way that it worked. And I'm gonna pop some pictures of some people that I did that I just used this product on, and I thought it did a really nice job lifting. However, when I use Blondme, at 85% of the time when I am using Blondme, I use it with 7 volume because it gets the job done. Like I said, Blondme in the hairdressing world is like Mariah Carey to the performing world. And what I mean by Mariah Carey is, you know, beautiful face, does the job, but she's a little temperamental. She's got a little bit of a diva in her, but she's worth it. In my opinion, the very things that used to scare me about Blondme are now the very things that I love about Blondme, and the very things that make me feel like this is the product I grab when I'm doing a color correction, when I am working with somebody that has extremely dark hair, when I'm doing a foliage on somebody and I want to bring that foliage to the next level. Blondme, the cons for Blondme are that it does slip. The things that I love about Blondme is when I am doing a foliage and the girl has her, I've like put her highlights on and they've lifted to where I want them to go, and I want to pop her ends out a little bit more. When I pull that product through her hair to pop out her ends a little bit, product does the job well. What I love about it is that it dries out, and when it dries out, the lightener stops working. With Blonde Life, because the product that helps to keep the product staying put, it doesn't dry out. And so I'm a little bit more concerned if I'm doing a color correction at how long that product is staying on the ends, because the integrity of people's hair is like my number one priority. So if I am working with Blondme and I pull the lightener onto the ends, I know that it's just using the leftover pieces, it's gonna bump it up and it's gonna dry out, which is really nice because then I know that it's not continuing to work. Where with this, it will continue to work. So it's like pick your poison, you know? Are you afraid of your foils slipping and you don't want to use a foil board? Then Blonde Life by Joico might be the lightener for you. But if you don't mind using a foil board and you like to feather your lightener up at the top of the rim of the foil, then this is a great lightener.
Check out my playlist for more information on Blondme.